there's a whole pile of conventions going online this week and this weekend, um, which is probably something we should talk about, really.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. I
Yeah.
I, it's an odd thing because there seems to be like a critical mass over this past week and a bit of lots of conventions going on. So there was the Shut Up Sit Down guys did Aw Shucks. Like normally they run a big convention over in Canada, but obviously that can't happen this year. So they ran 3 Friday, Saturdays. Yeah, 3 days.
Yeah, 3 days. Yeah.
3 days of Aw Shucks, which I think is a really cute way of running it. Like, Aw Shucks kind of thing.
You know what? We'll do this anyway. We'll do it in this fashion. So
and so I was ridiculous and stayed up till 3 a.m. Sunday morning to watch their closing ceremony and the kind of stuff. And there were tears, and it was really really good. But one of the things that kind of stuck out for us was Quinn's and Matt's and Ava and Tom. They were all talking about how and it felt very similar to the ethos of Virtually Expo. They were all talking about how, well, people needed something to attend, and no, it's not the same, but just the fact that we all got together that weekend and did games and we did things together is a really great kind of moment in well, for me, my local area has just gone into lockdown tier 3, so it was a really welcomed kind of community moment for us. But that was last weekend. There's something happening next weekend. What's coming on? Maybe tomorrow it starts, I think.
I'm not sure. I don't know. Was it something to do with Steam?
Oh, yeah.
Was that a thing? Yeah.
So, yeah, on Friday, starting Friday, Steam are hosting a digital tabletop fest. There is lots of panels across the weekend. Obviously, this is Steam, so it's all mostly at Seattle time.
Which can be very exciting if you decide to stay up one day and then you end up with jet lag for the week, which is weird.
Jet lag. So that's all over on Steam. If you didn't manage to catch the Gaming on Mars panel at Virtually Expo, the folks at Auroch Digital have managed to recreate it, and I think they've got a couple of extra guests. I think they've got a few extra people to join in, and that's part of Digital Tabletop Fest. Ian Livingston is part of it. Graham Davis, who did WFRP, he's talking on some of them. Chris from Modiphius is taking part of it. Folks who converted games, so you know, like Wingspan. Wingspan's got a lovely game. Digital conversion. So folks are talking on that about Wingspan and how what is the method of converting things over. Mandy from the Dice Tower is taking part. I think there's some live plays of folks playing the games and stuff. So that's Digital Tabletop Fest. You can find that via their hashtag on Twitters and socials. And if you're on Steam, if you've got the Steam app, which you might do from having Tabletopia or Tabletop Simulator or
any of the codes from UK Games Expo, if you managed to win any of those, courtesy of Asmodee Digital. Thank you again,
so
chaps.
If you've been playing your Patchwork, because I have, and I still haven't beaten the higher level AIs, the devious, they're running a Digital Tabletop Fest this weekend. That's tremendous. Everything?
I don't know. I think there's something tomorrow. Isn't there something tomorrow? Okay, folks. Yeah. It's Essen week, and we're at once very excited to see what's going on for Essen, and we are entirely bummed out because we would normally be most of the way there by now. In fact, we would be there and have done the setup. I don't remember. The entire week becomes a blur. So normally,
I think, what time are we on? I think those of us who take the plane have probably just landed in.
Oh yes, you guys would have swanned in, whereas we would have started our later on. Yeah, we normally start our journey at stupid o'clock and go from Birmingham area down to bottom of Hampshire to see the Asmodoodles, and then over to Dover, because this is how the Finny and Kate's Hobbit mobile work, in that where we fill the car with snacks, games, stuff we need to run for the convention booth, and then we drive across Europe, which is very beautiful at this time of year as well. You've got all the trees and the blah and things, because this is all the calm, and I'm building this calm because then you get to Essen and it's this huge smack in the face of the entire universe of gaming, going, here's our stuff, and it's bigger and it's enormous and it's better, and they've got stands like you have at the big London shows where it's a build of this, that, and the other, and things, and it's absolutely extraordinary. So last year was my first Essen, so I'm going to their online version, so I can say I've done at least 2 Essens this time. So that'll be cool too. But they've got quite a lot going on. It's a very interesting to see the evolution of these conventions. I mean, at the start of the year, everyone was like, "Oh, it'll be fine. Well, by May it'll be okay." You know, Aircon ran. That's being the largest hobby games convention to run this year.
The largest,
which is actually splendid.
2020, Aircon UK.
Yeah,
I
that's
like it.
Very, very cool.
That's a good effort, guys. That's
very, very much so. And so I think the stuff that's going with Spiel Digital. So we have 21 hours, 14 minutes, and some counting down of seconds left. If you haven't looked at it before, then we'll put the thing into the chats now. If I can juggle windows, we really need a Tony Stark style setup, don't we? So which is very cool.
Do we pitch that to Richard and Tony before or after the road trip around all the game stores? Is that which side of the
this is the thing. Like, we just need to get out, and we're getting a bit stir crazy. But so you go to the front page, you've got a pile of the new game releases and things. So Richard Denning, one of our directors, is actually attending the show as Medusa Games, which is his thing. So we've actually had quite a good look at behind the scenes as to what's going on in terms of setting up a stand and what things you can do, and launching tables of games and things like that. So it's actually very interesting to see how this is going to play out.
And I know there are loads, like, it's not all just contained, a bit like Virtual Expo, but maybe a little bit more bonkers. It's not just contained to the digital Spiel Digital, because I've seen folks running their own channels, and some folks are like, oh, we've lined up 80 hours of our own content, come and see us at
which is amazing.
TV / whatever, and you're just like, what, that in itself is phenomenal.
Yes, very much so. Sorry, go on.
I was going to say, it's both like folks like designers and publishers and game creators, and also content creators as well, like Ella loves board games. I was looking at her schedule the other day. She's got some, and they look like lovely kind of just come and chill out like we would have Essen. We're gonna sit down and play games. It's probably easier to find a seat this time around, because I've got one here, you've got one there,
super comfy.
We haven't had to book a table in a hotel last month, kind of thing, so it's probably a lot easier to find a seat. And she's just planning some really cute like gameplays, and you can just join in and take a seat and play and chat. And everybody loves Mr. Loser, Dave Loser, who will be doing more of his, you can print the games out and play them at home with him, which I loved from Virtual
Play
Expo.
Along is wonderful.
It was really great. Shucks did some as well with their own roll and write and that kind of stuff. And I think that's, like, if anything from 2020 should be put on a pedestal, as this is brilliant. The very medium of everybody playing, like 500 people playing Welcome to Dino World and generators falling over is brilliant. That's my favourite bit of the year so far. And lots of that's happening this weekend, not just on the Spiel Digital page, but your favourite content creators are doing cool stuff as well. So even if you can't like settle in for 60 hours of whatever, like with the programs, like with the stuff, get your pen out and put some Google calendars in. Join in.
So I think that's the big thing with all of these virtual conventions. You need to be active. You need to join in. You're not walking around halls in the same way. You're not necessarily going to stuff, but you're still going to rooms. Interact with people, even if you feel a bit like, don't really know what to say. Even if it's like, I love games, it's like brilliant. That's why we're here. The whole point is it's this wonderful shared language of games. Because so Essen are very splendid in that a lot of the stuff is in English, as well as really German, and there are multilingual people all over the place, and it's really wonderful. And you get that whole thing of you can actually sit down almost, you get more of a one-to-one, even though you've still got loads of people around. It might be that you're your podcaster, your YouTuber, your game designer is sat doing a thing, and so therefore you can kind of go, I like this thing you did, and it might get lost in the chat, or it might go, yeah, we like this thing, and here's a blah 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 blah. I would say make your name on your Twitch or your YouTube feed readable, because with extra safety consonants isn't always easy to say when you're trying to respond to somebody. So
but
that's the thing.
Even if it's just like, hello, I like your stuff.
Yes.
As folks who ran a virtual convention and do the streamy thing, it's really cute. It's really lovely. Yes. Remind you that you're not just yelling into the ether,
into the void, which sometimes we are, and that's okay too. Speaking of things like that, the Castle Tricon guys who ran a convention not very many weeks ago, if you haven't seen their world, they've created this little 3D world. You can pick an avatar with anything from like a massive bushy beard and a big giant thing to like a wafy kind of, they're all cartoony looking things, and you can walk, run and fly around to each of the stands, and anywhere you see a big sort of it's like a target thing on the floor, I think it's in bright yellow, you can walk on and it'll launch a little video camera, and they'll say, would you like to play a game? Do you want to see a demo? Do you want to find a little bit more about it? And you're running around these little areas and these sets of 3D worlds, and some of them got a space kind of feel, and some of them medieval, and some of them feel a bit more, like cowboys kind of thing. And it's really good. If you want to know about the game, there's a honking great big box 3 times the size of your avatar that you can run towards, and then look around for the little things. So Richard and I had great fun playing with this during the exhibitor side of stuff, which was good because we were rubbish at steering. It was just, I want to find about that, and I'm just like, I'm banging my head on the scenery. It's like, Richard, we are rubbish. He's like, oh, we could fly, and we flew, and that was much easier, and then we couldn't land. But that has nothing to do with the setup being bad. That is us being appalling at steering an avatar. So they're actually live this weekend as well as part of the spiel. Yes, so if you're doing Essen, you're doing things like that, and you want to see Heidelberg Games or Heidelberg, I do apologize, Michael, I will learn to pronounce that properly, or Czech Games Edition, who are big folks at our show, and also Horrible Guild,
who do I'm pointing at it, you can't see it because it's off camera, but we've got all the potion explosion going on over there.
I
actually got one of the expansions at Essen. That's an there we go, that's an Essen memory. Running around the halls desperately trying to grab the one of the expansions for potion explosion. That's the thing. They're going to be there this weekend with all their cool stuff. You mentioned something before, a little bit in advance, a little bit ahead. There's another online con coming up as well.
Yes, yeah. So if you can't go out for fireworks, which it looks like we can't at the moment, kind of UK wide, which is a bit naff. You should check out Gamehole Con. So they are based in Wisconsin in the United States. They are absolutely lovely, and they've been super supportive when we were doing our virtual lead up to the show, with everyone going, what do we do about this? How do we do this thing? That kind of stuff. So look for gameholecon.com. They have some very funky artwork. Their tickets are on sale now. You can book your tickets now, and they are running from the 5th through to the 7th of November. So fireworks outside might not be an option. Tons of gaming inside with new folk across the pond is definitely an option, and they are lovely chaps. And again, if you want to play a game or run a game for them or things like that, they're also taking submissions for games. It's a slightly smaller convention than Essen, because everything is a smaller convention than Essen. But this is a lovely way to say, well, you know what? I've been trying these different things. How do I run this online? How can I submit my stuff? Because this would be a nice way of doing it. You need to be awake a little bit longer than anticipated, but it's the weekend. Why not do that? So yeah, Gamehole Con, and I think it's the 8th Gamehole Con that they're hosting.
Wow, congratulations.
So, yeah, 5th to the 8th of November. I apologise. So that's in 15 days, 6 hours, 5 minutes. I love these countdowns.
They're awesome, aren't
Very
they?
exciting.
I just remember ours from the other side of it. It's like 15 days.
Yeah. Everyone's like, yay, 15 days. And what we're doing is
days.
having a very gentle panic about everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
It'll be good.
Yeah.
So yeah. So there's lots online.
All these online stuff going on. We're gonna because I've just seen some folks have entered the waiting room. So
Yay.
our guests are here. We're going to take a moment to set the tech up so we can meet them, and we'll be back shortly with some folks from Dementia UK about Raise Your Game. So like in the TV, don't go away, folks. We'll be right back. What's up, folks? We're back. Hope you had time to grab a brew or at least something nice to drink. We have some lovely guests with us from Dementia UK. It's Sue and Piers. How are you doing, folks?
Yeah, we're good, thank you.
Yeah? Oh, it looks like Piers is frozen. Oh, no.
That's all right.
He'll catch up in a minute. We'll catch up in a minute.
This was perfect. Like a minute ago, everyone was chatting, everyone was moving.
It was great.
It's me then.
Sue from Dementia UK. Oh, there we go, Piers. Welcome back.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. It's
always a brilliant
start. Oh, Piers, I thought you'd left me.
So, you folks have a sort of event coming up. I hope you can fill me in with some of the details, because I have skimmed through bits and pieces of it, but it's really nice to kind of get it straight from you folks. But before we kind of dive into that, it would be lovely to find out a little bit about yourselves, and also Dementia UK and how you got involved with the charity and everything going on there. Sue, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? What do you get up to?
Okay. My name's Sue. I'm a volunteer ambassador for Dementia UK, and I became involved after looking after my mum for 2 years. Now, my mum lived with me for 14 years in my house. She moved in with me when she was 86, and she was fine. She was fit. She was well. She was healthy. She started to deteriorate when she got to about 90, but it wasn't until she was about 96 that I started realizing things were getting a little bit strange, some of the things that she started to say and do and things like that. So I gave up my full-time job and I became a full-time carer and looked after her at home. I'd never ever heard of Dementia UK. I'd never heard of Admiral nurses and what they do. Mm-hmm. So I coped during those 2 years looking after her pretty much on my own. I did have a little bit of support from the outside, not a huge amount. Mm-hmm. My husband was a great support. But, if I'd have only known what I know now, it would have been so much easier for me, I think, so that's why I became involved. My mum died aged 99. She was 6 weeks away from her 100th birthday. Gosh. She spent the last 4 months in a nursing home because things got really, really quite tough towards the end. Mm-hmm. And to be honest, I just couldn't cope with it anymore. Oh. So, it was a case of, okay, after I got over the initial shock and the mm-hmm. grief and everything else, thought, what can I do to help? What can I, how can I become involved with something about dementia? And I discovered purely by accident on Facebook, I think, I saw something about dementia, looking for people who were willing to share their experiences. Mm-hmm. And so I signed up. I thought, yeah, I can probably do that. And here we are. So
on Twitch, talking about everything.
I'm passionate about explaining to people what we do, what the money's raised for, and mm-hmm. how important it is that we get that money coming in all the time. Because like most charities, Dementia UK, it's not government funded. Every penny that comes in goes out on training of those specialist Admiral nurses.
Well, I think we'll have a little bit of a chat about the Admiral and what Dementia UK do in a moment. But it'd be nice to know, because I don't mean to suggest anything untoward, but Piers, you look to be a slightly different age group than Sue. So it's a really interesting pair of folks we've got here. So Piers, how did you get involved with Dementia UK? What's
So mine was sort of very similar in experience, that I had someone very close to me who had dementia, and they passed away. So it was my grandfather. He passed away in March of this year, and I just kind of thought I had a bit of spare time on my hands. I'd just finished university, and I thought, why not try get involved with something that can raise awareness and helps people that have been similar experiences to me. And for me, the main driving force behind sort of finding Dementia UK and wanting to become a volunteer ambassador for them is the fact that the service they provide is kind of it's not something that is unique, is not something that's familiar across the board with dementia related charities. And I know from my personal experiences of speaking with my gran how challenging she found it looking after my grandfather until the end, kind of even in day-to-day tasks, and the support that you don't necessarily get from the 24/7 support you get from your family. I think it would have helped her immensely just to know that people were out there who could offer support and have also the helplines. And I think for me, that's just one of the things that has driven my sort of journey into Dementia UK now, and sort of raising awareness. And I'm really, really passionate that no one has to go through sort of what my gran had to deal with in constantly being the support mechanism for my granddad.
Wow.
And that's tremendous. Get March this year. So everything you've done has been during this lockdown and during this sort of crazy times we're all grounded. So that's quite astonishing.
It's been an interesting time to get involved with it. And this is actually my first engagement, so
hey, congratulations.
Good way to start.
Welcome.
You're doing great.
Thanks for joining us and taking the leap. That's awesome. So there's a couple of things you both mentioned there. First up, we heard a lot about Admiral nurses. What is an Admiral nurse? What do those folks do?
Okay, Piers, can you answer that question? If not, I'll step in for you.
Yeah, I can certainly give it a go, and then if it's wayward, which I hope it won't be.
He's frozen again.
Oh dear.
We'll pick me up on something.
There we go.
The Admiral Nurse service is it's a service provided by Dementia UK, and essentially it provides specialist dementia support for families. Originally, the name Admiral Nursing actually comes from the person behind the organisation, Joseph Levy. So he founded the charity, and he actually had vascular dementia and was known quite admirably among the community as Admiral Joe because of his love for sailing.
Yeah.
And obviously, when he was diagnosed with dementia, his family sort of began to realise how limited the support was for the actual family. And that's why they ended up sort of developing the specialist dementia nurses. And then we have the modern day Admiral nurses, who basically they're more of a support outlet for the whole family. And the first nurses came about in 1990. And since then, they've sort of grown to support thousands of families across the UK.
Wow.
And I am, as my story said, I'm passionately believe that everyone needs the support of an Admiral nurse, of someone who's touched in their lives by dementia.
So what sort of support do they offer? Like it's for everybody in the family. What can we ask, or what can they help us with if we're going through this?
There's a helpline, which is really, really, really useful. So it's manned 7 days a week. It's not 24 hours, unfortunately, but it is manned 7 days a week. And if anybody is at home with somebody and they're just at their wits' end, because sometimes when you're caring for somebody 24/7, life gets like that. And it's just knowing that you can pick the phone up and you can call the helpline, which is run by the Admiral nurses, and you can talk to somebody, and that person will calm you down and maybe suggest some solutions, what to try to get you out of the situation that you're in. And the other thing that they do is they will go and visit families in their homes. So once somebody has been diagnosed with dementia and it's flagged up as a family in need, an Admiral nurse will go and visit that person. They may have trouble with getting the person to take medication, or just supporting them where they can. And I think that's really, really important.
I mean, it must be hard when you're caring for a family member like this. There's, to a certain degree, a worry that people will think you're not capable if you ask for help locally. Like you don't feel like you could ask your relatives how they would do it, because you should be able to care for your family, and it shouldn't be a shame to need the support of the Admiral nurses.
Absolutely. And I think there is still, taboo really about admitting that to other people that you've got somebody in your house that needs help, and it's so important to look after yourself, because otherwise, if you don't look after yourself, you can't look after that person. And that was my own personal experience. I got to a point where everything was just so difficult. Wasn't sleeping properly, I wasn't eating properly. It was just constantly 24/7. And yes, I had the support of my husband, but I just needed that little bit extra, and for me personally, it was so hard towards the end. There's so much that you need to do, and as I say, if you don't look after yourself, you start to get unwell, you start to feel ill. You find it, you get depression, you can't get out of bed in the mornings, and yeah, there's certainly still a bit of a taboo about asking for help.
It's the realization that it's okay not to be Superwoman.
Totally, yeah. And you have those feelings of guilt. You think you're a failure. Why can't I look after my mum? Why aren't I capable of doing this? And it's because you're not superhuman. And it's just, yeah, absolutely.
And so Dementia UK is there to help both sides of the family. It's not just
the person with dementia. It's to help the family as well.
And the Admiral nurses are a big key part. Are there other sides to Dementia UK as well? What else does the charity?
The Dementia UK umbrella, we have a website which is www.dementiauk, all one word, .org. So .org at the end, and people can go on there. So anybody listening to this and thinking, oh, auntie's got dementia, or I think my mum might have it, but don't know, I really don't know. There's all sorts of information on that website, so you can log on to that website and you can just read through. There's little leaflets you can download. There's the important Admiral Nurse helpline number that you can call. But there's lots and lots and lots of information on that website, just to answer people's questions. How do I get a diagnosis? What do I do if I think somebody's got dementia? How do I communicate with them? How can I look after myself? All those things are on that website, so that's part of it as well.
So it's
we've just put the URL for that in the chat, and also it's a free phone helpline as well, which was also put in the chat as well, and we'll make those available to people. So
brilliant. Okay,
because I suppose one of the things is that with dementia is, from someone who's suffering from it, there then needs to be a realization where you're noticing that a family member or a loved one has this, but also then this is someone who might have spent their life being fiercely independent. Suddenly they're realizing that things are not quite where they should be, and that's obviously a massively difficult thing to tackle with anyone and to go through, and it obviously needs to be done with kindness, but professional help and experience must be extraordinary.
And a lot of people, they are in denial. People with dementia. I mean, my mother was for years, oh, I'm all right, there's nothing wrong with me, but it was just so obvious that, but she was totally in denial. And, and when that happens, it's harder, because if they don't agree to the doctors looking at them and the doctors diagnosing them, then that help almost becomes impossible. And it is very, very difficult. Yeah, totally.
So
I mean, just
no, go ahead,
sorry.
Piers.
I was just going to say, just on that, in terms of sort of my granddad, speaking from like a personal experience, he was sort of a Marine, served abroad and things like that. And just building on what Sue said, I think that does make it a lot harder when you sort of like, them as being so physically fit and mentally sort of rigid and things like that, and then for this sort of thing to happen to them, it's kind of like it hits a lot more of a wider network than you sort of immediately feel. So it wasn't just my gran, it was sort of the grandkids who would always experience their granddad as being this sort of strong ex-Marine, and then you go and you can see the deterioration so quickly. It makes me realize that it's so you never want someone else have to go through these things, and that's why I think the work of the Admiral nurses is just so crucial in this field.
So absolutely, yes.
We mentioned this helpline that's open 7 days a week, and it's a free phone helpline. And the Dementia nurses, the Admiral nurses who come out and help both sides of the family. The thing we didn't mention about this is they cost money. Like, as much as we'd love this to be available 24/7, 365 days a year, there is a cost to them, and that kind of brings us to the bit that a lot of our viewers will probably get involved with a little bit excitedly, because we're talking about an event you've got planned called Raise Your Game.
Yeah, very excited about Raise Your Game.
Yeah, so
okay. So the idea behind Raise Your Game, the fundraising team at Dementia UK we're always trying to create new ideas, and they came up with this idea that was something that was inclusive. It could involve the whole family, and maybe sometimes if people with dementia can join in, so that there's no reason why people with dementia can't do these things. As long as you keep things simple for them. Now, as a child and growing up, I used to love playing things like Ludo and Snakes and Ladders, all those traditional retro sort of board games that we loved in our childhood. And they are the ideal games for people with dementia to play, because they're normally of that age, and B, because they're quite simple. It's just throw the dice and move the counters, and there's no like some of these really modern games where you've got to think strategically and all the rest of it. It's the simplicity of things, and the idea behind the Raise Your Game, it was to think of something where the whole family could be included. And obviously we were hoping to launch this last year, and it didn't happen, purely because things weren't just quite ready and we needed to tweak a few things. But then we were going to launch it in the spring, and then March happened.
Yes.
and so we've had to become really, really creative and do things differently. So we've all come up with ways of doing fundraising. Raise Your Game. We're inviting people to sign up, get a pack, and maybe play a marathon game of Monopoly, or even do a friend of mine, and I was on his show last week. He did a 24-hour board game marathon.
Gosh.
So he did it on Instagram, and raised sort of loads and loads and loads of money, and basically every hour he went live on Instagram and did something live, played a different game with somebody on a screen. So it's just having to do things differently. Personally, I'm doing this Saturday night, we're playing a game of virtual Super Cluedo challenge. Do you remember that one, girls?
Awesome.
And yeah, and I mean we've had to be so creative how we've done this, but I've got my list of 9 suspects all lined up and they're ready to go. And we're going to play it virtually. And my daughter, she is going to be my assistant, so she's going to be the clue coordinator, so she's going to email the clues to everybody. And we're playing on Zoom, so and we're playing. I don't know how it's going to work. Hopefully it will work. but yeah, you have to become creative during these really strange times, and hopefully we'll raise lots of money in the process. So yeah, it's a fun thing to do, and I'm sure some of your serious gaming people out there can come up with ways and means of doing something that whether they do it with friends, whether they just as you say, create an event that they can play against each other. one of the games I played last week was like a challenge game, and you hold up cards and you have 2 minutes to do the answers, and have a leaderboard, and that was great fun. Loved that. Loved doing that. So yeah,
So
something to look forward to.
So it's about getting together and playing with the family or however we can in the name of Dementia UK. So you mentioned your friend raised money because people sponsored them to keep going every hour with something new and something and posting it. What are some of the other ways that folks have thought about, or what do you suggest that they use to raise some funds for this?
Are you involved in anything at the moment or organising things?
So I'm actually currently doing something with my family this weekend as well. Slightly less creative than Sue's sort of clued in murder mystery. Mine's just a simple game of getting sort of like my family and extended family together and playing sort of games like Perudo and Uno, which are obviously quite a bit more difficult when you've got loads of different packs of cards and things. But we're just trying to do it and get everyone together and share as much of it as we can on social media. Because for me, sort of coming in to Dementia UK as a volunteer ambassador, from my sort of perspective, it's not necessarily something that affects people my age as much. So it's kind of like I'm trying to get these sort of initiatives across to my sort of the younger generations, and the way I'm doing that is kind of through social media. So uploading sort of loads of things on Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, making sure people are around, trying to get my friends to do it with their families and friends of friends. So for me, it's kind of how can I get people to do these things and fundraise ultimately for Dementia UK, but also it's a great chance for people.
So yeah, sharing it and promoting the Raise Your Game and Dementia UK to any and everybody who could possibly play it or get involved, so that people know more about what Dementia UK do, and also help the Admiral nurses and the helpline and everything. We have our chat suggesting games already. I knew this would happen.
Yes. This is awesome. So you guys will say snakes and ladders, and I can see the entire thing going, we can do better than that. Yeah. So we've got some. So actually, Ed Fortune has said games like Warhammer Quest, which is really good. So because it's like a dungeon crawl. It's a sort of storytelling. You're working together as a team. It's a cooperative set of stuff. If you're in your group of safe six or in your bubble, then that's definitely a good shout on that one.
But I think it's true what Piers has said. It's so important that the younger generation are aware,
yes.
and it's people like Piers that we need, to to go onto social media, say, hey guys, this is what I'm doing for Dementia UK, and people go, who, and he explains why he's doing it and what he's doing it for. And it's so important because interestingly, 42,000 people are under the age of 65 that have dementia.
Wow.
Now that is, people think dementia is an old age pension thing. It's not. It doesn't just affect older people, it affects anybody at any age. And as I say, 42,000 people under the age of 65. I'm 65. It's sometimes you just think, oh my goodness, when you hear a statistic like that, it's just crazy. And I've got a few more facts and figures. There are over 200 different types of dementia.
Whoa.
And if you go onto the website, you can find out all about them and what the most common ones are. And there are currently 850,000 people living in the UK with dementia.
Wow.
Gosh.
Yeah, and that figure is
an awful lot of folks, and then people don't necessarily know how to help them.
No, exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, sharing the work of Dementia UK is really quite key to making sure everybody is supported in the ways they need. And Raise Your Game is a way of helping Dementia UK
way to do it.
do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So is it a fixed date? Like you both mentioned, you're doing something this weekend for it. Is it a fixed date event, or is it like between this day and this day, or 20?
How do we get involved with this?
What do we do?
It started in April. Sorry,
it's all right. It's been Blur's Day for a long time this year. It's okay.
It started at the beginning of October,
Okay.
and it runs for the whole month. But there's no reason why you can't do it later. Maybe, especially with half term next week, and bonfire night is coming up as well, so you might be able to incorporate those, the kids being at home and stuff like around those times. But if you log on to the Dementia UK website and search Raise Your Game, it will pop up, and there's still time to download a pack, and you get all sorts of lots of little goodies in your pack. Ooh. I'm just seeing if I've got mine to hand to show you what you can get. Hang on a second. There we go. You get this cute little trophy, look.
Oh, no, we do like a good trophy.
That you can, it's flat comes
flat
back, but you can present that to the winner. And I think the great thing about this, if you have something that's online and got a group of you online, whoever wins, you can pop it in the post to them and say, yeah, you've won the trophy, you raised your game. So yeah, absolutely. So yeah, there's still time. Get on there and download the pack and get people joining in.
Oh, and so there's digital things you can download and include and that kind of stuff, and then things you can print out and have a go with.
Absolutely.
And just we've already got folks sharing. That's Thank you very much, Dodd 117. That's exactly what we're here for.
Brilliant.
And so Kate and I were talking about some of the virtual board game conventions that are coming up this weekend. So folks are going to be getting together to play games this weekend, next weekend. You mentioned bonfire night and stuff where Gamer Holcon is going to be. So in terms of both of what you want folks to play the games and help raise money, and then Piers was mentioning also share it among other people. If you are taking part in any of the online conventions over the next couple of weeks, it sounds like a perfect sort of mix. So you can get your gaming on, and you can let everybody know about the vital work that Dementia UK are doing. And you've got plenty of time, so you could do it multiple times over the next every time you game the next couple of days. Tell everybody about it. So when people have raised some funds and some cash for the event, how do they get it? Because it's a little bit different these days. We can't go off to events around, and sometimes you'd have maybe an event locally that you could give it to folks like yourselves who could take it on, or that kind of stuff. How do people get the funds to Dementia UK?
Okay, well, life nowadays is so much easier, I think, than traditionally, where people give you a couple of quid here or a fiver there, and you think, oh my gosh, I've got to go to the bank and put all this money in now. But no, it's so simple. You just register for Raise Your Game. Mm-hmm. You can click on a link and create your own fundraising Just Giving page. Oh, wow. And people donate directly to the charity. So it's just so simple. It's easy as that. So you just register, sign up, get your pack, click on the link, make your own fundraising page, share it on your social media, tell everybody what you're doing, and it's the money goes straight to Dementia. You haven't even got to worry about going and knocking on people's doors and collecting money. So
little money bag, I remember that.
Yeah. I mean, in your pack you do get a little box, so that if you are allowed to mix with 6 people, but hey ho, you want more than 6 people to donate to your good cause. So the online is the way forward. Definitely.
As somebody who plays lots of RPGs, that little box sounds like a prime thing for oh, you rolled a crit, Put a pound in the box.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, you
Yep.
want to re-roll? Put a pound in the box.
You rolled a 1.
And
You need to put more in the box.
You do get your little box.
So with your little group.
With your little group, yeah. So that sounds a great idea.
If you want to get out of jail free, put a pound in the box.
Yeah, put money in the box.
Actually have to pay.
Put a pound in the box.
Just trying to open my box here. There
So
you
you
go.
can if you want, but everything then can just go through the Just Giving page, which probably also gives a little bit of gift aid if you do it in certain ways, which again helps Dementia UK a little bit more.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, that's epic. That's epic. I'm interested to hear and check out over the weekend what folks are going to have a go at and see. So is there like is Raise Your Game hashtag, or what is on social media?
There is a Raise Your Game hashtag. So basically, if you just put hashtag in front of Raise Your Game, it should go onto Instagram. It can go onto Facebook. Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Please do. Yeah.
And so we can share all this and everybody can see like hour 74 of roll your still going on this game, but also really exciting family games with everybody involved and raising some awareness as well as raising funds. That's really, really cool.
Can I give you some figures on?
Sure.
Okay. So sort of £33, and that could pay for a new Admiral nurse for 1 hour to support a family somewhere. Okay. And £70 can help fund the helpline for 2 hours in the evening. And evenings and weekends are the hardest time sometimes when when things go wrong, when you need to speak to somebody and there's nobody, during the day or on a weekend, you might ring a friend and say, oh gosh, you never guess what's happened now, but you can't always do that on a weekend or, especially on a Sunday. And that money goes towards funding those Admiral nurses to work on a Sunday, and that's what's important. And it's just, even those little bits of money, £5, it soon builds up. If everybody, I mean, I've asked all my suspects in my Super Cluedo game to just donate £5 to play. I've got 9 suspects, £45, just like that.
Yeah.
It's so easy. And the other thing I've decided to do is get all my other friends to try and guess who the murderer is. So for a small donation, they can try and guess, who did it. And the lucky person might get to win my little trophy. So,
That's amazing. And now you have a whodunit murder mystery which you're hosting.
Absolutely.
And it's
absolutely
all for a tremendously good cause.
Oh, amazing. Yes. Awesome.
That is absolutely wonderful.
Like
we've just had a thing from the chat. So Dodd has put, so Dragon Meets is one of the conventions that would have been running in December, but they're doing other things for that now. I believe they're doing something along the first weekend, but they've just put the Dementia UK stuff and the links to it on their convention site. So yes,
well done,
yes,
guys.
they are. Sorry, Dodd, I should have checked that out better. So that's on Dragon Meets. That's a whole bunch of folk who also have stuff towards the UK Games Expo. They're a really, really nice bunch of folk.
Brilliant.
And
Thank you very much.
For Crit Tax, if ever there was.
That's wicked.
Yeah.
So thank you.
If one person watching this shares it, that's fantastic. If 10 people share it, it's absolutely amazing. If 100 people do it, can you see how it just grows?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Totally.
And the Dragon Meat Mob are extremely keen and clued up, and their volunteers are amazing and extraordinary. So that's
get them to
wicked.
sign up.
Yes, and nutty. Awesome.
That's awesome. So the last thing I would be kind of interested in, and wouldn't would like to know a little bit more about is, so folks now who have heard both your story, Sue, and Piers' story, if they want to get involved, want to volunteer with Dementia UK, or know somebody who also might want to be involved, how does that start? What are the steps there?
Okay, again, if you go onto the Dementia UK website, there is a tab at the top, get involved, and you can just click that tab and it takes you to, to volunteering, and you just fill out the form, and away you go, really, and somebody from Dementia UK will be in touch. It's fairly straightforward. I think you just have to be somebody who's passionate about what it really means, and as long as you've got that passion, and also they're always looking for people who are willing to go out and share their experiences, but there's other work to be done as well. There's people that maybe are quite happy to do lots of admin for them. There's just little different ways of becoming a volunteer ambassador. It says we do what it says on the tin. We volunteer for them, and we're an ambassador for them, because what we do is something that we believe should be done, basically. And I think if you've got that inside you, you'll do it anyway. There's also a click on a link to click on if you know somebody who is a nurse who wants to be a specialist nurse, as in become an admiral nurse. They can also go down that route. Obviously, there is a criteria. You have to be a certain level of nursing, but the admiral nurses are really, really special people. I mean, I've met a few of them, and they just have this aura about them. They walk into a room and you can just feel their presence, because they just know how to keep things calm and cool and collected, and you just think, wow, that they are special people. And there are a lot of people I know nurses out there who would make fabulous admiral nurses, but obviously there is a criteria. But if you're interested, if you are a nurse or know somebody who's a nurse and you think, wow, that's something I might quite like to do, just let them know. Go to the website and have a look.
Oh, wow, thank you very much.
That's absolutely tremendous.
It really does resonate when you say that there's lots to be done when you're a volunteer ambassador, because I know from speaking with our volunteer managers, Andy and Simon, that the many hands make the ship sail, kind of. So if you are interested, you realise you have got the time and the passion to help Dementia UK, then it's not always appearing on a Twitch channel and trying to get people to.
Although as a first off, Piers, that's pretty good going.
It was very good. Well done, Piers.
Yeah.
Actually, also Piers. So, as someone who has, I mean, we've both got personal experience of this issue and things. What when you got involved, I mean, do they take you through training and things? Do you have to learn about stuff? Exactly what sort of things?
Yeah, so as Sue was saying, I mean, the application process was fairly straightforward, especially in comparison to a lot of other sort of fundraising groups. It's actually can be quite a tedious process in order for you to get to the stage where you can actually help. Whereas Dementia UK, it was a phone call, and then it was a phone call with the regional sort of fundraising lead. So that's Holly for me, to make sure I wanted to do it and sort of what my experiences and background were with dementia. And then about 2 weeks after that, I was invited to a training session, which takes place in the evening over Zoom. It's about 2 hours. And that just basically runs you through as a background, sort of a background lesson almost of what Dementia UK is about and the role of the admiral nurses. And then from there, you get all your materials sent to you, both virtually and in post. So, I mean, I've got loads of booklets on the work that's done and how to fundraise, how to be proactive, what sort of engagements are expected. And So yeah, there's a big sort of support network behind the volunteer ambassadors, and especially for me, someone who hasn't really had that much experience with these sort of things. I've got people like Sue who have been sort of, we spoke last week about what we need to do and what we need to go through. So there's definitely a lot of support behind it as well, which is really, really reassuring. So yeah, I would really recommend anyone who's got a bit of time to get involved if they can, because the work really does make a difference to a lot of people.
And it sounds like a wonderful support thing that you guys have going on as well as an organisation, which is absolutely amazing to hear.
It is. And I think because the way things are at the moment, everything has to be done virtually. I mean, my training was totally different to Piers, obviously, because I had to go for training. I had a weekend where I went off and did training face to face with people, and of course my diary has been totally different this year. Sorry, my house phone has started to ring.
It's okay. I've got folks making a brew over there.
Yeah, we've had kittens attack the channel. It's all good. It's okay. Carry on.
Yeah, so all my things that I used to do would be public appearances. I would go off and I would, talk to small groups of maybe 10, 15 people about dementia. Or I would go and do a gala dinner where there would be about 160 people in the room, and I would talk to them about it. We'd also be invited to do things like check presentations, because sometimes big companies have us as their charity of the year. So at the end of that year, they like to present us with a nice great big check, which is really, really good. And they always like a volunteer or a representative from Dementia UK to collect the check. And I've done a couple of those, where I've gone along and to their events and taken the check from them on behalf of Dementia UK. So things this year has been really, really different. Sort of everything's had to be done virtually. But I've loved it. I've loved the challenge of this. This has been great, being able to come on and talk to people that don't know me, and hopefully, I make some impact.
No, absolutely.
No, I think definitely been an impact. We've at least everybody who goes to Dragon Meet or looks at Dragon Meet now are gonna, which is not inconsiderable. Everybody who checks out our YouTube channel or our Facebook page is going to see this video as well, which is, again, there's a few folks who turn up for those sort of things. Yeah,
it's going to be good. And we love the fact that you've chosen games and board games to do this, because it is something that you can play with the whole family. It goes massively across age ranges and abilities, mentally or physically. That's the thing, it brings people together. And also playing games helps keep your brain healthy. There's been a whole load of articles and things. So absolutely top stuff. Raise your game, get involved, # raise your game, put it everywhere. Definitely need to be doing some fundraising.
Thank you.
Once we've closed this, I'm going off to get a digital version of that little trophy so I can set up something this weekend.
There is a digital version, yes.
Print it out, get it ready for this weekend as we're going to do some games. It has been a pleasure. Thank you for sharing your stories and educating us about Dementia UK and the work of the Admiral nurses and the helpline that you have, and giving us an extra excuse to play lots of games. It's been a delight.
You're very welcome.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you for having us.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, it's been great. That's all we've got for today, folks. We're going to go off and prepare for playing games. I think we'll be back next week with some more guests. If you've got someone you want to share, your friendly local game store, you've got some events you want us to have a chat about or chat with the organisers of, do get in touch. You can do it through the Whisper system here on Twitch, or you can tweet us, or you can send us Facebook messages, or head over to ukgamesexpo.co.uk and get in touch with us, because we love to hear about everything that's going on in the gaming community, and we're here to share it with you. We're here to celebrate as well. Once again, thanks Piers, thanks Sue. I'll see you next week. See you soon.
Don't forget to raise your game.
Raise your game, everybody. Oh no, my mouse is not in the right place. There we go.